are potentially more advantages to be gained from bypassing the mid attack entirely, and either playing the lurker style or going up to the hive for the ultras off the mass link bank.
Indeed. Well, in the bottom left here from Mind Freak, you know him, you love him. He's got that 2-0 victory to start things off with. Can he continue that reign of dominance here in Group A? This is Seither.
Up here in the top right-hand side in the red, representing Alpha X, it's Demi.
And trying not to get my hopes up for an insane series here, but my expectations are, you know, if I had to pick them, if I looked at the series for today and I'm like, which one's going to be good, I would pick this one. I'm really keen to see how it goes down.
I'm with you on that. Like, I think before that last series, I would have said the same, but I'm getting a little bit of a hype killer kind of vibe out of Seither today, where I'm like, wow, that last series was kind of dominant, and, you know, a little rapid. I'm like, he's channeling his inner rogue, maybe. He's just, you know, stomping people and not giving him a chance to play the game. He's like, viewers be damned. I'm going to kill people today. And, yeah, I don't know. We'll keep our eyes on it, see exactly what Seither brings out, but definitely sensing that vibe from him. That being said, I mean, Demi just survived Mayor Micah. You can't count out anybody if they just made it past the Vietnamese mad scientist.
Indeed. There's going to be a Reaper Expand here from Seither as well. It's cool to see. Reaper Expand, I feel like, is just been around forever in TVZ, but we have seen more and more Terrans kind of just rely on the SCV for the scout, cut the Reaper and get the factory a little bit quicker. So sticking to the tried and true ho-hum vanilla TVZ opener here for Seither.
Indeed. I think it's, you know, the Reaper's such a good unit for utility, for scouting, checking what's up, especially if you think your opponent might do something a bit cheeky. Skipping the Reaper is incredibly dangerous because as a Zerg, you want to sneak across, whether it be a Ravager Zergling attack, a quick Nidus Worm. The moment you realize there's no Reaper on the map, you're like, oh, cool. I don't even need to pretend. Like, there's nothing scouting me for a while. Hellions aren't going to be here for a few minutes. Like, let's just, you know, go straight for whatever tech I want. In this case, Demi taking the front third base. Pretty typical. Just kind of defending with the Lings to buy time. Queen's out. We'll push back that Reaper. And third Queen starts up immediately. A solid opening for Demi, who's delayed Ling speed to get out a lot of drones early. Just doing a very typical opening. And the third command center coming down for Seither behind this. So I think always a good way to start the series. The third command center, you know, you'd think it's very greedy. Something I think we've learned is the Zerg needs to hit a very tight all-in to actually punish that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this is a good read from Seither. He knows that Demi... I mean, Demi has cheesed a nerd in the past. I feel like he mainly, if he's going to do that, it would mainly be like against a ZVP build, like maybe going for a, you know, a bit of a march against the Stargate opener or something like that. But against Terran, I feel like Demi's, for the most part, a lot of the games we've seen from him, being a bit more macro focused. He's not ashamed to go into that late game, to go Ling, Bane, Muta into that tier 3 and just sort of let the game go the distance. So if that is the case, and if this player does indeed have macro on the mind, then going for that fast third base is an extremely good call from the Terran, just you know, on paper at least.
Indeed, the Banshees are going to help cover that, of course, as the Starport does float over onto the tech lab there, and likely to see a Banshee potentially cloak powering up behind that as well. And indeed, Seither just waiting for the 200 gas to kick in. It's actually Raven. Okay.
Okay.
Being more common on this map, especially. I think it's just because the map spreads very wide, right? There's so many different paths. It's easy for creep to get out of control, and the Raven means you don't have that sinking feeling in your stomach as a Terran, where you go,
right.
Okay, looking at the map, it's going to take me 15 scans, which is 3,000 plus minerals to get rid of the creep, and you're like,
right.
Yeah,
perchance not. But the Raven here is actually something that we see a bit from, like, actually Time comes to mind, who we'll be seeing next week as a Terran that really likes these Hellion Raven openers in TVZ to push back that creep without scanning, like Big mentioned. Can get a lot of value, and also is a great harassment tool later on. Demi really loves mutas, though. He's dropping that mainling nest, and this layer is a third of the way done here as Seither rounds out the extra bit of bio production. Barracks on the way here, getting those add-ons with the starport ready for the bio increase.
Indeed. We haven't seen the engineering bays or the Evo chambers go down just yet, so it looks like a quick Bane speed, I think, for Demi, or potentially, like you said, could even go Spire before Baneling speed, though. That's risky, but you never know. Might get away with it. Hellions and Ravens just chipping away at those tumors. Don't want to take a lot of damage on that Raven. You see just how fragile that is. Already taking 40 hit points worth being in the yellow. You got to be real careful with that Raven.
Yeah, I certainly do. That thing is only on 3/4 hit points at the moment, but Seither is getting value out of it. He's finding a lot of creep tumor damage. There's that Spire from Demi Love before Baneling speed. You mentioned a little bit risky, but Seither did sort of lean heavily into Hellion production at the start of this game, so Demi can get away with it. There's not a bio push to worry about, so I feel like he can get the Spire and not die.
Could we get a shot behind the natural of Seither's mineral line, please? He's locked 2 SCVs there.
That
now
looks like 3.
They are stuck. Just the 2
it's
engineering
2.
bay
Okay.
SCVs, and they both happen to finish
Dude.
on the inside of it. So a bit of bad placement combined with bad luck for Seither there. And he's going to actually drop auto turrets to kill an Overlord. Wow, okay. Pretty expensive to kill an Overlord there. I guess he just wants to limit the vision of Demi. And look at this. Now that he's in the red, that Raven needs to go home and repair. And that's going to give a moment of time for Demi to respread creep. Demi's also got Mutas almost hitting the field, so feels like this Raven, whilst it slowed the creep down, hasn't really been too impactful. There's been no real direct damage to the Zerg. 2 Overlords, 5 Zerglings ain't nothing. Already a Baneling run by getting ready. That's going to go in before Bane speed, though. So I feel like in isolation, this is a pretty big game.
Well, slow Banes are rolling in. Seither is looking over here at the third base, though, so hopefully should be able to react.
Oh!
Or not, I guess.
Looks like he must have looked away just as they entered his vision. He was loading a drop up. Loses 6 SCVs. I mean, that's still not too bad. Banelings are expensive, and you're going mutas, so you can't afford to do that too much as Demi. But I do like these sort of little just bits of damage, bits of momentum in a tournament game. Lots of pressure on both players. It's a very nice move. He's already taking gases on his 4th as well as Demi, but his Evo Chamber's only now starting, and this is the standard thing. When you go mutas up against a bio player like this, the bio player basically gets a full upgrade lead on you, and that can make a huge difference as the game goes on. So keep our eyes on those upgrades. If Seither can force fights whenever he's got upgrade advantages, that's going to be pretty good for him. But if Demi can kind of just, control the map, hit Banelings in the center of mass of the Marines whenever they come in, that'll be big. Widowmine drop, though.
Oh, I like this. Armory not quite done yet, but the Widowmine drop can still find a lot of damage before the Zerg is ready. And he's already got Widowmines on the brain with the second factory on the way here. Means he's going to be prepared for those Mutalisks. Demi Love with very good map awareness. Instantly pulls those drones, sends the Mutas in to get the cleanup on that medevac, on the Widowmines. He's got enough DPS on the Mutas to kill the Widowmines before they burrow and shoot off, and that is a free bit of damage there for Demi Love. The Widowmine does fire, but it looks like Demi did not lose more than 1 drone.
Demi needs to make more Banelings. He needs to make a lot more Banelings. There is not only a bunch of Hellbats, there's also 4 Widowmines and a pack of Stim Shield Marines with the double upgrade advantage. So Demi's got to be really patient with his Banelings. Try to get them in the center of these units. His Queens can wear this down. Transfuse does not go down on that Queen. He can't go in with all of his Banelings at once or he might just get wiped. Demi, he's throwing all his Banelings away. Uh-oh.
He's got a lot of lings here, but I'm not sure that's enough with the Hellbat to assist. Okay, the Hellbat goes down. There's the Widowmine. Seither pulls in, goes into the medevac to solve the threat to fire. Oh my, the Widowmine gets an insane connection on that clack of lings to the south side there. And, I mean, Seither does get pushed back, but he definitely traded nicely there.
And he's got a 4th base up behind this Maynard. He's got the second factory pumping drilling claws. Has not actually started, so a small thing there of a mistake in terms of that for Seither. His Raven just running around willy-nilly on the right side of the map does go down as well. But the fact that Seither's still out here on the map, I mean, Demi needs to be hitting Seither right now. He's undefended at home. He's completely naked. He's only now building turrets. He doesn't even have a turret in his main. Seither just knows Demi so well, and he knows that Demi's trying to win the frontal fight. Demi here being read like a book by Seither, and Seither taking advantage of him. This is great play by Seither, and Demi being a little bit too stiff. He's got to start being a bit more unpredictable.
Banelings rolling in. They actually get a couple Widowmines there, and he's got a few Banelings in the back pocket. So Demi just keeping those Banelings very, very close because his life literally depends on it. He's going to go up to 11 Banes in total. He's got 4 at the moment with 7 morphing. We have the Mutas pretty high in number here, but against an army that's on its way to having 2 upgrades and lots of Marines here with medevac support. The medevac's actually running out of energy, though, so there's not a whole lot of healing on the bio. And the Zerg instantly starts that 2-2, so Demi not missing a beat on the macro. And he feels like he's got enough freedom to send the Mutas across the map and hold with the melee army. Does he have enough? We'll see.
Oh, those Widowmines, he just wants to bait him. I mean, pretty good Ling Bane control so far from Demi. He's got to be real careful, though. Things can turn south very quickly in these scenarios. More overseers are on the way. Those Mutas are going to fly on in. They don't really find much damage to start. The rally was there and solid. Meanwhile, at the front, the Marines continuing to try and bait those Banelings in. Good micro on both sides.
Yeah, Demi just pulling that, just sort of cloning those units back and trying to send them into the Winter Mines. Doesn't quite reach that back line. Winter Mine, and with a Thor here now, Seither's got a giant hit point sponge with armor at the front line, ready to just punish a miss micro, a miss control from the Zerg, and misclick, and also to help out against the Mutas if there comes to that as well. Winter Mine Drag actually hitting a few Terran units there, but the point is the Banelings are getting thinned out here. Demi forced to make 10 more as they come in from the natural. Oh, that's a lot more Zerg coming in from Demi. A bit of a pre-split from Seither. Is there enough in the back line on the left side of the map? Oh, that's so much Terran.
And this is it. I mean, 2-2's not finished for the Zerg. It's already there for the Terran. And I mean, Seither's got such an easy time of this. Just look at the way he just sits here off creep, sets up his pre-spread. He's even building turrets there. Oh my lord. That is a sign of cockiness if I've ever seen it. A third factory goes down. He's got Thors, +3 weapons, armor on the way. Demi, I mean, Mutas are not good enough frontal engagement like this at the best of times. Up against Widowmine Thor, they're horrendous. This is not what Mutas are good for. Mutas need mobility, and the moment Seither got set up on this side of the map, Demi needed to either kick him out of that position, or he needed to give up this base and start counterattacking. But he's let Seither sit in that forward position for too long, and you can see as the unit's loss tab just kind of widens in the favor of Seither that it's a little bit too good for him. And Demi, he's now sending counterattacks in, but a handful of Zerglings ain't going to cut it 12 minutes into the game. Yeah. This is a maxed out Terran. He needs to be rolling in dozens of Banelings, hundreds of Zerglings, you know? He's got to go hard on these counterattacks.
Well, the Mutas are an insane number here, and they are doing all right there at that third base, forcing an evacuation, but there's multiple Thors, and the Mutas are stacked up here. Good cluster of them going down. I mean, they're going to try and force Seither to come on home, and he is home with most of his units, but that Patchery at the top side is a ghost town at the moment for Demilove.
Oh, big Thor shot lands in the center of mass. Oh, those Mutas need to get out. Get out, get out, get out. He's already lost so many Mutalisks. 9 Mutas went down in that. They are not cheap units at all. And remember, even when he does a good bit of damage, it's not a good bit of damage. Why? Because this is not 7-8 minutes into the game against a Terran at 130, 140 supply, 50 or 60 workers. This is a Terran on 4 bases with a 5th command center finishing, who's got
tier 3 for the
75
Zerg.
Workers. Seither can take a punch right now, dude. Demi needs to do massive damage. He needs to kill half the barracks in the main and every SCV. He's got to do a lot.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's tier 2 town here for the Zerg. He's got no Ultra Cavern. There's no big tier 3 response to handle the 3-3 units, the tier 3 units like the Thors. This is just not enough firepower, and the window is closing here for Demilove. The Muta's finding some more harassment in the main base, but Seither switches targets. He's looking for the right side of the map. Demi moving down to intercept, but not a whole lot of creep spread to work with here. And the Widowmine at the front door, it does go down. Another Widowmine at the backside. Muta stacking up a little bit there. The Thor getting some good splash damage shots from the south side of that pack. In comes one line of Banelings. There's 4 or 5 Widowmines deep here still, waiting for more of those Banes.
Ooh, man, good. These Widowmines just getting so expensive. Now, there's not much bio left with this, so Demi's going to try to jump on top. Good spreads on his units. It looks like finally he'll evict this army from there at the same time as the Mutas get a command center and 15 SCVs. The first big victory of the game, and I was saying Demi needs to do a lot of damage, Maynard. Well, defeating the army on the front and doing that economic damage at once, has that dragged him back into this game?
Well, he's definitely got a light at the end of the tunnel right now. Demi does not look great on army supply, but he does look good on worker supply and the base count. I mean, at the north side, he still hasn't got many drones there, but it's just because he's not, sitting at 80, 90 workers. Finally, the infestation pit goes down. I think if Demi can buy enough time and not take enough damage and trade well enough to get up into tier 3 and start going towards ultras, I feel it a little bit more for Demi. But at the moment, I still see the Terran army so much more powerful than the Zergs.
Yeah, there's like 6 missile turrets on the left base and a bunch of Widow mines. Like, this is not a Muta-friendly zone. Don't go in there. Oh, okay, so Demi's going to get 1 Widow mine, 2 Widow mines. Well done. Okay, but he's got to pull back. That's a few too many turrets, I think. I mean, that's a lot of Mutalisks. And you know what? The turrets on the left were kind of far away. He gets a decent bit of damage done here. And he could go past into the main base. He's already lost 5 Mutalisks in this attack and hasn't really done any big economic damage, but he's opening up avenues and he's buying himself time by pulling these units home.
And turrets weren't maybe remade at the third base after he got killed there by Demilove, so he's finding a lot of free worker damage there again. He might even get the orbital one more time here as Seither scrambles for a defense. And there's not really any presence on the map for Seither at the moment. So the time that Demi needs, as I mentioned, trying to get up into tier 3 and turn this into a much closer tech between one army and the other is kind of there. He's keeping Seither at bay on his side of the map. and is amassing a lovely bank where he could make a bunch of things like, you know, get some Vipers in there, get an Ultra Cabin in there, get some get the upgrades kicking in as well. He is still only on 2-2 upgrades against 3-3, and Terran is getting more and more Thors and closer to maxed out. And I really, you know, having a maxed army of Zerg is great against a maxed army of Terran, but I think if the Terran is maxed with you and it has that double upgrade advantage and a lot and a lot of Widow Mines, I really get worried for the Zerg.
Indeed, I'm with you there, Maney. I think this is actually a decent Ling run by. These units are pretty cheap and expendable. There's not lots of Banelings sent in here. He's on the rally. He's picking off some Marines. The army on the right. Banelings sent in a few at a time. That's the way to do it as Demi, and there's not much anti-air left. He can take this out.
Yeah, tons of Banes in the back line here. I mean, the Banes aren't really training super efficiently. A lot of them have died and also crashed into the Thor, but it does not matter. It is a cleanup. And another run by here into the natural, getting 12 more SCVs, killing a few of the infrastructure units there of Seither. Demi is clawing back into this game. He's like, Seither, if you want to win this game, you're going to have to rip it out of my cold, dead hands.
Dude, you talked about that bank. 3-3 adrenal glands plus 3 air weapons, Ultra Cabin and Burrow all going down. Demi, though, he's done a good job of respreading his creep on both sides. Attack's going to come down the right. This time, he does not have a backstab set up. And once again, Seither has left his low ground third completely naked. Seither's done this all series long. And whenever Demi's done a backstab, it's done good damage because Seither's so unprepared for it. But this time, Demi falling back to the front on mindset. He's still on Ling Bane. And that Widow Mine count, it gives me nightmares. I do not think Demi can fight into this. I don't think it's possible. Rolling in small handfuls of Ling Bane is okay for now. But honestly, oh no, the drop in the top left at the same time. Demi feels he's got to break this. He's going to go for the big fight because he's losing his base in the top left. He knows he's got to defend, and he actually takes a surprisingly good engagement, but that damage in the top left might just be catastrophic.
Yeah, and also that hold from Demi was very far from free as well. The army supply to Zerg took a big hit, as did the Terrans. But Demi, as the dust settles, needs more time to get the 3-3 up to get that bank working for him, that 3,000 gas, getting that into some really convincing tier 3 units, as Seither's army is still primarily Marines and Bio. He's got so much Marine production right now. Imagine just 4 or 5 Ultras in the army camp for Seither, for Demi right now. He's got Ultra number 1 on the way, Anabolic Synthesis on the way as well to give those Ultras a little bit more speed, a little bit more pep to their step. Seither's army is still so powerful compared to Demi's.
That's the wrong upgrade for the Ultras. You need chitinous plating first and foremost. So that is the kind of utility bonus upgrade. You know, it's not bad, but it's not important right now. He needs to just have fighting units, and he needs them to have the armor upgrade. So that is a bit of a bummer. This Ling run by, that's what I'm talking about. See, there's been naked to counterattacks and run bys all game long, and he doesn't have that many spotter units out there. This little Ling run by is doing so much damage to Seither, and that's something Demi needs to do more of. The natural is definitely a weak point, as is that third base on the left side. I really feel Demi's got to find more of these, and I love this choice to give up this base, and his mutas are going to strike once more.
Yeah, the mutas rolling on in here. They don't quite have +3 attack, but +2 will do. They burn down those turrets. They force the evacuation. They kill 8 SCVs, and that third orbital is in trouble as well. Seither actually in every matchup is not super great at dealing with, you know, big harassment and run by and that sort of thing. He's very, very much focused on one thing at a time. And back at home, getting run bys into him, whether it be a War Prism, whether it be Mutalisks, usually do find damage. You see that, like, builds more turrets than you would expect because he just doesn't want to deal with the harassment of these mutas. There's 8 turrets, it feels like, over at that base up to the 9 o'clock position.
Seither like to attack, but he's not so good at protect, Maynard. You know, he's got that skill set, and Demi's taking advantage of it right now, but is it going to be enough? Because there's 137 army supply, 15 Widow Mines, 20 Marauders. Ultras,
oh
we're like, he needs Ultras, he needs Ultras. Well, I don't know, man. Is it just too late? There's 20 Marauders on the map.
And also the Ultras don't have chitinous, so they don't have that extra bit of padding as well, the extra bit of thickness to deal with this many Marauders. The Ultras are rolling on in. They've got some queens in there, and Mom's coming in for the transfusions on her babies. They grow up so big and strong.
Band-aids, mate. Band-aids are always a nice, healthy thing there. Definitely helps out.
Oh, Widowmine Drag's not too bad there. The Banelig's getting some friendly fire. Now they're starting to eat some Terran splash damage. He's fighting off creep here. Demi thinks he's got enough bugs to make this work, even off creep. I don't know. He pulls back, and the muta's coming back as well.
Yeah, it looks like more mutas being invested in right now for Demi. That's, I mean, I always think it's wild. When I see players 20 minutes into a game still building mutas, I'm like, that's crazy. But they're 3-2 mutas. And he's done so well with them. I get why he keeps doing it. Oh, the mines on the right side of this map, though. definitely needs to keep bringing overseers with those. Ultras on the left are going to go for a big engage. The Marauder count's big, but dude, the medevacs are out of juice. Seither needs to go home. He needs to actually go home with that army, and he needs to wait for more medevacs. Seither's army is all red and orange, and it's sitting off creep. Demi could wipe that right now with an A move.
Oh, the turret's definitely enforced down here at the base to the bottom right of the map here, the bottom right of the infrastructure for Seither. He's pushing on in with that hurt army, Pig. He hears you, but he doesn't. He hears you, but he doesn't listen.
He's beating his chest, dude. Seither's beating his chest. He's saying, yeah, come and fight me, Zerg. Yeah, you wouldn't dare. And you know what, Maynard? Kindness plating still being completely forgotten, so he has no idea. The kindness isn't there. But this bio's so wounded. Honestly, this is such a dangerous position for Seither. The Muta's a bit far behind everything. Dude, the positioning's so good for Seither. It's just the hit points weren't quite there. So Demi, oh, he's not going to be able to get on top of all the bio, though. A good escape for Seither. He loses a lot of medevacs. He's definitely got to pull back and kind of lick his wounds for a little bit, but he does keep a lot of the bio alive to fight another day.
Oh, this 9 o'clock position is so strong for Seither. It's important for Demi to get in front of that, or at least take it down, because look how short the rally is for him to send his army back from that 9 o'clock base to the 12 o'clock hatchery for Demi, where Seither's been putting a lot of his damage against the Zerg all game long. I mean, every now and then he hit 3 o'clock, and eventually he did pick it off, but the 12 o'clock position for the Zerg is really, really nuts. If Seither can break and get a great trade over there, he has access to those 2 hatcheries. He's actually done tons of drone damage already at like the 11 o'clock hatchery. That's taken a lot of drone damage. So this position right here, incredibly important to hold for Demi, and he does not have creep spread replenished over there either. So it's a very clear push path for the Terran.
And Demi sees this army on the right, picks off a couple of Widow Mines on the way across the map. Oh, only one actually, the second one barely surviving in the red. But good job there. Even just a few Banelings helping out with that would be fantastic, because Demi, you know, he's going to be dealing with a split push. Seither is going to split, go down both sides of the map, and this is the classic way to beat Mutiling Bane is if you just set up Widow Mines on both sides of the map and keep kiting and kind of baiting the Zerg, then shots like that will happen. That's what you're looking for as Seither.
Well, there goes Demi's front line. He does still have these ultras. They got a lot of a punch there if they can close the distance. Look at that spread from Seither. He's got a big line of bio. Isn't enough, though? The Zerg is crushing in from creep on the north side. It's getting thinned down on the south side as well. In comes the Zergs. Healthier ultras getting some big cuddles on those Marauders. They do go down, and Demilove holds. And on the right side, 6 drones went down as well, but Demi's work account, it's serviceable. It's not devastatingly bad, but it's serviceable. He can still get another big army, another big flood of units out. I think actually Demi is starting to have a bit of a lava problem, Pig. Oh, this Widow Mine. Oh, gets a cluster of drones down there trying to micro away from that splash.
The unit's loss tab is looking totally fine for Demi. Normally you're 10,000 resources behind by this point in this matchup. Demi's only down 3 or 4, and now he's even counterattacking in. He is slaughtering that base. The medevac count's getting lower. Where is the bio? It's a handful of units on the ramp trying to defend as the space cows rampage up. I don't know, man. That dancing with the bulls, running with the bulls stuff they do in Spain, I would not want to do that with a goddamn Ultralisk.
No, indeed. Demi starting to snowball here. It's looking really good for him in this counterattack. Those Mutas once again picking off that 3rd base location, and you're quite right. There's just not much bio here for Seither at all. Demi's got access to the natural. Seither needs to hold on.
Ooh, okay, dude. Only 47 drones. Yeah, that really does start to add up, doesn't it? And look at this one Widow Mine on the top left of the map walking into his base. The Queens are going to get caught here. And, yeah, I mean, right now, Demi's not mining with all these workers in the top left either. He's got so many idle drones. So, Demi did just clean up a Widow Mine in the top left. Put back to mining. He's back on an economy. He's got some ultras, but remember, they still do not have tightness plating. So these are 5 armor ultras when they could be... Is it +2 armor on tightness? I think it must be +2, right? So they would be 7 armor otherwise.
Yeah, you go to 7.
Up to
7 total usually.
Is massive, right? Huge against the Marauders especially.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little bit of a problem in the economy in the long term for Demi. He basically can't let Seither get a new base because Seither has access to mules. He's got a couple of orbital command centers. Well, he only has 1 orbital, actually. So you know what? You can kind of continue in this situation as Demi, especially if you're sniping the production. Dude, a factory and a starport? No way!
Yes way. It burns down, trying to escape the clutches of those flappy flaps. Those Mutas putting on so much damage with that +3 attack. The planetary is possible here, but he pulls back. He's just like, no, it's fine. I don't need to kill that. There's nothing there. I mean, I'm looking down at the nameplates here, and I'm like, oh, Demi's down almost 20 workers. Surely Seither's out mining him. Not really. You know, a little bit. He's mining him down a little bit, but he just doesn't have that many bases actually putting in mining work for him with that extra bit of SCVs. So the worker count be damned. Demi is still getting a nice big army advantage. He's got to get a good fight, though. Is this it?
Oh, that's a lot of Lingbane Ultra. Even though this fight started good for Seither, that is so much Lings wrapping up the Marauders. Wow.
Oh, man.
Demi
What a game.
delivering.
What a game from Demi and Seither. Both those players putting on a great show there in game 1 for this series. Ooh. You know, it feels good to say to chat, this is going to be a good one. And then game 1's like, yep, yes, it will.
Indeed. And I've been observing live in game, and I'm just unplugging my my Ethernet cable because I need to make sure I've got the right connection on so that we're nice and not lagging the players at all during the games. As I noticed a little spike, thankfully didn't seem to affect the players at all on my end, but I've got that one fixed up so I can keep looking around. Dude, games like that, there's so much going on. Honestly, what I'm floored by is not just that Demi won and played a good game, it's the fact that that did not look good for him in the early mid game. He was pushed back. Seither had that parade outside his base on the third. People, you might remember that from Heart of the Swarm. You're like, oh, that's standard TVZ. Yeah, not in Legacy of the Void. The Terran's got too much production behind that. You cannot let the Terran sit out front your third. Seither was doing so well, but man, the Mutalisks, they hit the critical mass, and Demi showed us what a big pack of Mutas can do, dancing around the back line.
Well, we're going to take a short break, guys. When we return, hopefully Demi can ride that energy and get a nice big upset here in Group A and be the first player out. Or we get a Game 3, even better. Tune in after the break to find out. We'll see you then. G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back to the DreamHack Masters main event here for the Oceanic Rest of Asia region. I am Maynard. With me is Pig. And us two Aussies have got our Australian player here for the Terran race against the ropes, against someone that's really been a bit of a dark horse whenever he's been in the top 8 here in the DreamHack. And we always knew he was good. As I sort of mentioned, he's always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. He's always got so close, but never quite gotten to that big crown, that big finish, whether it be the WCS region, whether it be the EPT Pro Tour. And honestly, this guy in particular, Seither, has been one of the people that smacked him back every single time he tries to get to the top 4 or the top 2 or the grand finals of anything to, to get to that big main event. So this is his moment. One more map.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be huge if Demi could take Seither down here. I didn't think he would do it, but he's already delivered fireworks in game 1. And I think it kind of comes down to this interesting dynamic where you've got these really clever Zergs, great ZVZ player, great ZVP player, planning, strategy, studying his opponents, finding their weaknesses. And these sort of players can excel in ZVP and ZVZ, and they often run into a roadblock against very, very exceptionally good Terran players, because Terran have this amazing quality when they're played very well, where they kind of force their opponent to play to their mechanical level and react to many different moves. And it's something where it doesn't matter how good your planning is, how good your understanding of kind of the habits of your opponent is, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that unless you can stitch together, responding to, hey, there's a Marine drop in the top left and there's a Widow Mine spread in the bottom right, and he's baiting you into it, and you've got a micro against the Widow Mines and deal with the top left and do your muted backstab at the same time. You put in these positions where it is naturally a very push and pull, it's very mechanical. It's who can manage many different tactical situations at high speed, put their attention in the correct place and deal with it. So as nice as, I'm sure Demi's preparation is, really what ended up getting him through that was his ability to keep up the pace with Seither and kind of grit his teeth and get on through the multitasking. And that impresses the heck out of me. So really well done by Demi.
Yeah, he was looking like he was in a ton of trouble, starting to run out of steam a little bit in the first half of that game, where, or I guess half, mid to late game, whatever that window you want to call in the game, where the Terran's got 3-3 and the Zerg's still on lair tech. I get really worried for any Zerg that's in that scenario, especially against a Terran as good as Seither, who very rarely loses from that point. Kudos to him to be able to get those trades. Those run-bys were just instrumental in getting him that time and damage that he needed to be able to get up to tier 3 without just getting bowled over by that 3-3 push with the Widow Mines.
Indeed, dude. And it was good gumption in game 1 to hang on, but we are going to Terran Kingdom. That's right. It is Oxide, a map with a lot of choke points, a lot of kind of narrow paths and lovely tank spots on the high ground and whatnot. Down in the bottom left-hand side, let's see what he can bring out. There's a map to do with Cheeky Cheese. This is Zerg, a Nidus Worm. This is it. And of course, this is Alpha X again.
And over the top right here on his map, is it enough to get him the W and get us to game 3 from Mind Freak, Australia's #1 Terran? He is Seither.
His name does come from Final Fantasy, and he admitted
Weeb.
Didn't know how to spell good, so he spelt it wrong.
He also pronounces it Seither, which might be correct, but I played Final Fantasy VIII as a kid back in the late 90s, and I always thought it was Seither.
Yeah, me too. So I'm just like, nah.
Nah, dude. He's like, my name's pronounced this way, and we're like, no, it's not.
Dude, every time a player tries to change their alias, like, oh my god, what was the latest one? Isn't it like, there's a new Polish Terran player called Warlock or something now? What did he name it? He's like, did he change it from Soul to Spirit?
Yeah, Soul changed to Spirit, yeah.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's like, what's another name
Peter.
for pig? What if I change my name for Hog or something? I'm like, no, I'm Hog now. You have to call me Hog, guys. It means the same thing. Why?
My name is now Bacon Slap. Change all the branding, all the Twitter handles, and Instagram. Like, Dot, get on it. We need new marketing for Bacon Slap. I'm Bacon Slap now. Yeah, it's... It is tough to market yourself when you change your name around. Not that I'm like super interested in marketing myself, but I'm just, it's honestly just laziness for me that I don't understand people that change their ID, because I've had the same ID and everything for like over a decade, like 15 years I've been Maynard, so yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. It's that thing once you become known as something, it's hard to change it and whatnot, but Yeah, especially if commentators just lazy and bad and say your name wrong enough, it might stick as well. So yeah, sorry, Seither,
True.
you should have told
Yep.
us earlier, bro.
That's right. You are who you say you are now, mate. So just play the StarCraft game. Don't worry about the casting. Speaking of casting, we do have the Reaper doing a little bit of a dance here with the Zerglings. Tasteless and Artosis' favorite part of the TVZ is the Reaper dance with the Lings. Oh, it nearly dies, actually.
Yeah, Demi. I mean, Demi does lose a Zergling, though. So, you know, he was there with his libertarian views. Doesn't like paying the Reaper tax. But the Reaper does end up getting his little bit, his 25 minerals worth in the end.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have a pretty normal 1-1-1 opener here for the Terran as well. Getting the starport down as the factory switches over the reactor for the Hellion production. Joining up with the Reaper, of course, that Hellion and Reaper army is not too bad in the early game against the Zerg. Very good for keeping them pinned back, not letting them spread completely out of control.
Lots of queens on the way for Demi, and looks like a stock standard build order. So, yeah. Well, you know, Seither, of course, is going the much quicker Banshee, right? So this is a safer build when you're down a game. Does get the pressure going a little bit earlier, but it's also one where if Demi does just play another standard macro game, I personally would always rather do it against a delayed third command center that goes down past 4 minutes than one of these ridiculous 2-minute 40 third CCs like in game one.
Yeah, indeed. And this time it is going to be the Cloak Banshee from Seither, of course. Cast your mind back to game one. He went for the Raven opener, so that time opener that I like to... I think of time whenever I see the Raven Hellion thing anyway. I'm sure there are other Terrans that do it. We'll be seeing time next week, actually. I'm getting far ahead of myself.
Yeah, well, I'm keen for that. I cannot wait to see what goes down over there in that region. Overlord's going to come in and see exactly what's up. So no third command center, Cloak on the way. And Demi here, so far rock solid on the D. The Queens are spreading the creep forward, defending the third. Very quick Baneling there. So this is exceptionally safe play from Demi. Like, yeah, it's kind of standard, but it's definitely on the safer side of it. Like, whereas someone like Rogue, who we know likes to take a lot of gambles with his Zerg versus Terran and ends up with very one-sided matches, one way or the other. He'll just be like, nah, double Evo, 6-7 Queens, 10 Zerglings, nothing but drones. Let's see if we can get away with it. But this is like the real, I'm going to lock everything down. Spores going down every base. Ooh, are the Lings in position?
Oh, this looks like a wide open natural here. In come the Lings from behind the mineral line, but that's behind the mineral line, which means they're not stopping the Hellions from getting into the drones. 4 going down here. A lovely bit of barbecue. Get your plates out, chat. Get your bottle of sauce.
Those drones still hanging out in dangerous territory. The Lings get a good angle, though. Nice patience on the Lings, waiting for that angle. Does need to pull them to the right to make sure the Hellions can't escape. At the end of the day, 7 drones, definitely not damage he was looking to take since he was playing that safe style. He wasn't droning super hard, so it's more impactful, right? A player who's droning really hard, they can take a few drone losses, don't care about it. Demi invested in Spores, Bane Nest, and Zerglings, and Queens. So this is definitely not the start he was looking for, and I'd like to see him shuffle that Spore over a little bit on the third base. He's got a good Queen split for now. Banshee's not going to find too much more, but he's got to hold down that drone key. To still be even on workers with the Terran 5 minutes in, not looking too great for Demi.
And good micro on that one drone there near the ramp that is losing a little bit to these Banshees. She's going to go down. Good catch.
Extra Banshee in the main, but you got a Spore and 2 Queens there. Spore's not really covering the top left of that mineral line, but I think it'll be good enough. Demi's going to expand to the left side. Can she deny it? No, she cannot. Banshee not in position. Third command center floating down now for Seither. He's going for the 1-1 upgrades. So it looks like this time the Evo chamber is starting, of course, much earlier for Demi, as it appears he might be playing a bit more of a traditional kind of very heavy Ling Bane style, potentially into Lurkers.
Yeah, I'm so used to him going Ling, Bane, Hydra, and he's very, very good with it. So I always say, you know, stick to what you're good with. Another kill on the Banshee, very nicely done by Demi. Losing a lot of drones at the start of the game, but honestly, that was mainly to the Hellions. The Banshees have been a pretty good handling from Demi.
And the fact that it's all cleared up now means he's got freedom, right? And that's the most important thing in Zerg versus Terran is, can I spread creep freely? If he can get creep way out front this 4th base, there's not many push angles. And as he opens up these rocks, which Demi's doing a great job of, I mean, he's on 70 workers. He's got an abundance of workers. He's staying 4 gas for now. So I would like to see Demi transfer over to this new 4th base. It appears to me he's playing Massling Bane Maynard, and I love this style. Because rather than the kind of avoid the frontal fight backstab with Mutas, he's going to be able to backstab with tons of Ling Bane and also overwhelm the front. That's the advantage of basically just having an abundance of minerals and such a huge amount of production. So as long as Demi gets down some extra hatcheries, otherwise he will struggle to spend his money. So 5th base does go down as well in the bottom left. Got a good count of Zerglings and Queens moving to respond. And so far, you know what? Demi recovering well from that early damage.
Indeed. Starting to look quite stable. Taking a little bit of a trade here against those Marines. Good target fire there from Seither, but not too many Banelings, so it's not too hard for him to do that. And just trades a little bit and pulls back. Good bit of damage there from the Terran. Not losing too many Marines.
The map actually just rolled in as well, but there was a tank sieged at Seither's 3rd, so it just kind of blasted every single one of them. It was only 3 Banelings. But it's interesting to see that seems to be like a set piece of Demi's plan, is always just keep trickling lings into the 3rd, Baneling, sorry, and see if you can get a few big hits. And they haven't paid off really in a big way just yet in this series. Good way just to kind of apply pressure, though, for very minimal APM or resource cost. So I like that idea of just kind of keep looking for it, see if you can find something. The creep, though, getting pushed back again, and Demi has not done a good job of pushing that down the right side of the map. So the map control is definitely not as much as he had on 2000 Atmospheres.
If only Seither was hitting with the 1-1 upgrade. Yeah, unfortunately missed that window a little bit, but he is starting to come in now with that upgrade. Hatchery's just finished, too late to cancel.
That's going to go down.
Lings. Oh, just in time. Not quite, not quite. But the power of this Ling Bane force and just going straight Ling Bane is that you get to save your gas to be able to go up in a tier 3 here, and you have a lot to be able to handle the bio, at least until Widow Mines get a little bit higher up there. Speaking of Widow Mines, we have not seen any of them from Seither. It's just a single factory with the tech lab still making tanks.
Demi's forgotten his 2-2 upgrades. It's been about 30-40 seconds now. Finally,
no.
There we go. He does remember. Okay, so it's not the disaster that it could have been, but still definitely a bit of an issue. And Demi, he's got a good amount of production going with these hatcheries, but still no macro hatchery, and he very well may be lava starved. He's already got 1,000 minerals in the bank and no real lava storage to be spoken of, Maynard. He's going to give up the base on the left as well. With this style, it's actually totally feasible to have 2 macro hatches. He's looking for a big ling run by it, but there's more than enough Marines there ready to deal with it. Demi, he's got to be careful here.
Certainly does. Would be an overextension if he stuck around too long, so he does disengage. But see, he's got this lovely position. Look at that tank up there to the north, and the one behind that sort of spinning blue thing as well. Really good position for the Terran. Not a whole lot of creep here either. He's pulling in the rest of the Marines on the right side. This is a good fight for the Terran. Oh no, Demi losing absolutely everything over here where that hatchery used to be, and he just has to tap after a trade like that. GG. Things go from 0 to 100 just like that. We got a very quick sub 10-minute game too, as Seither ties up the score.
Indeed. As we said, Terran Kingdom there. And, you know, I actually think Demi did such a good job of stabilizing after the Hellion damage. I was like, damn, getting both Banshees. You've got that little window with no pressure where he got the 1-1, the 4 bases up, and a very cool style from him as well. But once again, it felt like Demi is letting Seither push into him a little bit more than you kind of want, where he's kind of just like very late game focused, right? It's all about progressing to the next step and defending. And we definitely saw that a lot of the time he's sitting back. He's not really willing to go out and fight Seither when he pushes because he feels he's not quite ready. Yet at the same time, he's not setting up big backstabs, and that's the style that thrives on the backstab. So I would have loved him to already be planning to give up the base wherever Seither pushes and do a giant Ling Bane backstab into like the natural, right? But you could see he waited till Seither pushed the front, set up, Demi pulled back, and then went for the Ling Bane backstab. Problem with that is by the time it gets over there, Terran usually has produced a lot more units. And we saw even with Banes and Zerglings, he just wasn't able to find an opening. And this fight here, absolute disaster for Demi, who he's building a hatchery in the top left. He's just got his hive. He could be going ultras or infestors, but there was no reason to fight there. He'd already given up the base. And I think making things a little bit easier for Seither than he needed to. I do think kind of the pressure of the Hellions, the Banshees, the follow-up drops bouncing around. We could see that Demi was making some unforced errors. The creep not spreading as quickly as it did when he was in control of 2,000 atmospheres, and Seither able to dictate the terms on Oxide. But the final map's going to be Romanticide, Maynard. So this is one where we're going to see Mutalisks again, I would bet, because it's just such a good map for Mutas.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, which really just feels like Demi's comfort zone. I always call him Mr. Mutalisk. He's like any excuse to drop a Spire. He will, you know, you don't have to push him very hard for him to drop that that tier 2 structure and start getting those flying units up. He's just I always say again, like, do what you're comfortable with, do what is your strength. I love that Ling Bane flood style, but I feel like maybe the looking at tier 3 was maybe a little bit too late. You need to, you know, survive, and just get that little bit of a, you know, more comfortable window there. Unfortunately, as you mentioned in that game, maybe a bit of a misread from Demi and an under appreciation of the Terran's position, especially army-wise in that game, and you know, taking way too much damage and taking an atrocious fight in the end there before he tapped. So didn't quite get to show his plan in game 2. Let's see if he can get it in game 3. And the bottom right here with a lovely victory there to tie up the score. Can he get the reverse sweep and get out of Group A in first place? This is Mind Freak Seither.
Hopefully drawing energy from that incredible solarium that Seither's playing in. His opponent, of course, playing in the standard shadowy gamer den in the top left-hand side, the red Zerg. Representing Alpha X, it's Demi.
I was just thinking that as well. Looks a lot like my room when I haven't got the lights on for a broadcast.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be an interesting one to see if Seither feels comfortable returning to 3cc in deciding game. I actually think he'll do it because Demi is pretty predictable. He has not found success in the past cheesing against Terran, and so he's leaned away from that very far, and that's why he always brings the macro game, and he often takes maps, but finishing a series on the other hand, you know, not so much. So I don't think Seither is going to be super worried. He'll SCV scout after the barracks, so, you know, just real typical Reaper opening. But I think stay one gas here, drop the third command center. You had great momentum on 2,000 atmospheres, and on this map especially, how often do we see mutas come out? Then the Terran's already parade pushing right down the center into the fourth, and the Zerg just crumbles because mutas not good fighting head-on against Widowmine Bio, and on this map, it just feels like that push through the center is so powerful against mutas.
It certainly is. On the flip side, though, as a Zerg, when you start to really get your creep spread out there, you get to secure that rich Vespene base, you can just get so much of the map locked down pretty tightly there. There are some very, like, I guess, common battle areas on Romanda's side. The 12 o'clock is hit quite often by Terran. The natural is also very droppable until you start to get a little bit more infrastructure spread down to the south left side of the map here for Demi, and he spawned the top left. So it is such an interesting map, and it has got some, you know, historically lovely tank positions for Terran as well. So I feel like it started off as a map that Terran really liked against Zerg, but Zerg getting more and more comfortable with it, and we've had the map in the map pool for a year now, so no one is a stranger to this particular battle.
Indeed. Reaper does get one Zergling attacks once again, but not too much. Demi's totally fine with that, and the third command center does go down. So Seither just continuing with the momentum play into the economy, you know, just saying, let's build a lot of workers. And I personally am such a fan of the second barracks, the quick second barracks 2-1-1 build Maynard. Like that one gets me super excited. In this case, it's just the starport, so we expect the tech lab to go down in a moment. Probably the Banshees again. Obviously, that's the Banshee gonna rain down death on any crazy Ling, Baneling, or Roach all-in, right? Whereas the 2-1-1 takes a little bit more to get going. But I just feel like the power spike on that is so powerful. If you get the second barracks, then the starport, you get Stim, 16 Marines and 2 medevacs off the back of just 2 to 4 Hellions, and you're in the face of the Zerg so quickly with that pressure. Oh, that's cute.
A little bamboozle there from Seither, trying to show off Stim, but he's not actually going for Stim.
Does he fight the bait though? Does Demi fight the bait? Does he believe that he's being Marauder Hellbattle in right now? Faking the concussive there and whatnot. The Marine pushes back the Overlord. No real adjustments just yet from Demi. He's pretty chill. Obviously doesn't need to have reacted just yet. And it seems like Demi's not overreacting. So this seems very relaxed by him. I really like this play by Demi.
Seither's actually changing up his plan. He was going to flip the structures. Like, he absolutely had those structures in the air, but he's changing his plan on the fly here. He's like, you know what? I will get Stim. Yeah. I'm going to get that Stim. I'm going to make a Liberator. Why not? I'm living my best life.
Living his best
life.
life.
Go off, King.
Heck yeah. Get the Viking, clear some OVs, get rid of that. You have to get the Liberator out, do some harass. I do think Demi's pretty well set up for this. He's already got spores behind the mineral line on the natural and the third. That's set up for a Liberator. He's only got 2 Overlords out there, one of which is already pulling back. The one on the north, the only easy pickings for that Viking. And honestly, going to 7 Queens, 50 drones already, adding more. Demi's openings really are very beautiful. I love how clean this is for him. That being said, Seither's landing his 3rd base as well. So both sides gonna have that kickstart into the economic game. Double engineering bay goes down. So once again, we will see an upgrade lead for Seither. But I imagine the Evo chambers, oh, yeah, no, they won't be soon to follow. I was going to say they'll be soon to follow. No way. We're seeing a quick spire, 100% Maynard.
Yeah. This is Demi and this is Romanticide. Oh, catching the Viking. Very nice. That goes down. The Overlords are safe for now. Bane speed starting first, at least for Demi, not going immediately into the Spire, if that is indeed what he's going for. But the Spire we see queued up there in the natural goes down. Liberator coming in for some harassment here. Demi with some decently placed Spore Crawlers, though.
And, oh, yeah, hit that Overlord. That's right.
Take it.
Nice bit of damage there, except not. Great reaction by Demi. And, uh-oh.
The Overlord already healed up from that damage. I think it might have.
Yeah, I think regeneration actually out heals the DPS of a Liberator's anti-air attack, Maynard. For anyone who doesn't know, the Liberator has a splash damage anti-air that does very low damage, but in a pretty big radius. So you get like 6 of them. They're really good versus Mutalisks together. 6 or more, right? You know, they can take out interceptors and things pretty quickly. So clumped up units not bad against, but one single guy against an armored target, an Overlord, yeah, it's not going to do much.
Yeah. The Liberator technically has an anti-air attack. It's just like very technically, yes. And I do agree. You get like 8 of them with +3 attack, they'll do all right.
Yeah. I do remember seeing it maybe 6 months ago. There was like a GSL game where someone was like actually chasing some mutas around with 4 Liberators, like with Marines and stuff as well. But I was like, oh my god, like I haven't seen this in years since they did double the damage back in early Legacy.
I was going to say, just on that point, if you guys are relatively new to StarCraft, like maybe you've gotten into the game the last few years or so, at the beginning of Legacy of the Void, nearly 6 years ago, the Liberator actually was a very legit anti-air muta, anti-muta unit. They had to halve its damage so that it wouldn't just erase mutas and completely remove them from the game in TVZ. They were so good. I'm going to drop the main base here for Seither.
Is actually going to find an opening for a moment, and there's mutas handlings on top, focuses down.
1 muta, 2
muta, 3 mutas.
3! Very nice. And he's going to, I feel like he's going to save most of these Marines too. The mutas, I don't know if they want to engage all of these unloaded Marines, but maybe they catch them before they unload. Not quite.
Where's the Lings? The Lings aren't even joining. Guys, get over here. The mutas are like, seriously, guys? We're letting that medevac get away, and he killed 3 mutas. But unfortunate. Seither posturing on the left side as well. I think realizing this mutas already on the field, he will have to back off. +2 bioweapon starts, but Seither doesn't have the gas to start +2 armor. Now, if he realizes that, it's not a problem, and he does realize because he starts it up now. All right, very well done by Seither, who's going straight to 8 barracks here. And you know what, Maynard? He's building tanks. He's... Oh my, he's just going to rally. Is he even going to build add-ons on those barracks? It's a Marine tank all in. Oh, wow.
Certainly looks like it. Wow.
You meant to do this off 4 gas, though. He's built 2 extra gases, so this is a snap judgment call, I think. I don't think this was planned.
I feel like the start of the game was also not super planned from Seither, but it's been working out for him so far. So he's just, like you said, snap judgment call. He's just like, I think I can do this and I think it'll work. And he might be right. There's going to be a lot of Marines. There's going to be a handful of tanks. And Romanticide does have some pretty sweet spots for tanks if you can get that far, but you have to get that far. And Crew Spread is looking pretty tasty for Demi Love in the middle of the map here.
Demi has no idea it's coming right now. He does not realize this is going to be an immense amount of Marines, and you need so many Banelings. Like, he's making the infestation pit right now. He's droned to 85 workers. He's making flyer attacks. He's droning more. Demi has no idea. I mean, this is it. Terrans almost never do this anymore. This was really popular quite a few months ago. We don't see it so much anymore, and Demi clearly is not even thinking of that as an option, because look at this. Oh, dude, he does not even realize. He's going after this drop in the south. He might actually get the medevacs, which is nice.
Yeah, very good. Anything you can get done for free here, getting a medevac, getting any of the tanks would be amazing here for Demi Love. Oh, flies a little bit too close to those Marines. They're only 1-1, but they're on their way to 2-2. A few more mutas going down there for Demi Love.
Demi needs to set up the flank. He needs to realize what's happening, which I think he does because he's got a changeling on that army. He sees the rally. He cannot engage this from one direction. I mean, he's got so much creep, maybe. Maybe he can. He's maxed. I mean, Demi has a giant army. Seither's army is even bigger. 2-2 is not done for Seither. There's a time to go. This might be it. He's got to go before the 2-2 kicks in at Seither. That's only 15 seconds away, Maynard.
Oh, man. Yeah, 2-2 is addressed, but it is also an incredibly strong timing for Terran as he gets closer and closer, inching those tanks ever so closely in range of that hatchery. Once the tanks start to get in range of that hatchery, Demi Love starts to run out of time. Here comes the big flood of Zerg. Is it enough?
Giant wave of Zerg coming in from all sides. The Baneling count's getting lower. They clumped up a lot.
The reinforcements, though.
Oh, dude, he needs more Banelings. Does he have any more Banelings in reserve? He does. He's got 14 more Banelings. He saved Banelings in reserve. They should be able to keep him alive.
Oh, man. Demi not out of the woods yet, but he also has the army to be able to handle this. He's got the units. He just needs those connections. See, there's gotten rid of a fair bit of creep up to this position here in the middle, that sort of raised bit of terrain in the middle, which he's using to protect the tank and that cluster of Marines on the right-hand side. Seither really wants to get in range of this hatchery, forcing a response from the Zerg. In comes Demi again from the south and from the north. Most of the Banelings are on the south side of the pack, but the north side connects well with the Marines there. Seither gets pushed back into the middle of the map, and he's actually had a lot of the wind knocked out of his sails. I think Demi's going to recover here for a little bit.
Dude, that's it. He's held. He should have this series from now. Demi has crushed that. That was so decisive, that last fight, Maynard. He clicked on the tank with his mutas. It had like 30 Marines focusing his mutas for a solid 2 or 3 seconds. Guys, if you're not a Zerg player, you run away. 99% of the time, Marines shooting mutas, you run the heck away. But he said, no, if I get rid of this tank, my Banelings will connect. And it started terrible. He sacrificed like 10 mutas, but then the tank went down, the Banelings hit the Marines, and suddenly the Terran army was gone. Now, this is the last-ditch effort. It's pure Marines. I don't think it's going to do enough for Seither, though. His army's getting overrun.
Demi is starting to crush through this army. He's really confident, bringing all the units in. All the boys from the yard, the Lings, the Banelings, the Mutas, pushing Seither back into his natural. And Seither has been so focused on building units. He does not have much at home at all after losing that front line. The natural's cracked wide open. In come the Banes. GG. Demi has got the upset victory there. The 2-1 victory over Seither. He will be first out of Group A.